Welcome once again to the MMOs.com podcast. Altay here, joined this week by one, they only,
Omer.
All right.
Here we are with another podcast, episode number 157. What did you do this week, Altay? Give us a quick rehash.
What did I do this week?
What's going on in the week of Altay?
I tried to play Don't Starve Together again. It seems like the perfect game for me. I love like the kind of 2D stuff, you know.
Yep.
I love the survival stuff. But this one never clicked for me, and I played it again, and it just didn't click. It's in some ways it didn't click because it's just too hard. I don't know if you've played the base game or you played Banter or something. It's a very difficult game. You're always hungry. You're always looking for food. So I don't know. I just don't make it far in this game. But
I got quite a bit far, but I wasn't a big fan either. I don't know. I don't know. Didn't do it for me either.
But I mean, I love stuff like Terraria and all these 2D nonsense games. So you'd think I like it, but I'll keep trying. What can I say?
I played a bit of Heroes of the Storm this week. I just finished my placement for Heroes of the Storm before the season ended, so I got I guess some points. I actually ended up placing in Masters. I don't know how that happens in Heroes of the Storm. I mean, I barely played the game, but the game's like, holy shit, Remo, you're so good at this game. Here, take Masters placements. And I played a bit of I did my Overwatch placements, placed like 2,700 or so, high 2,600s. And I also played a little bit of League of Legends this week. I have not been playing too much Final Fantasy 14 this week. I've been very lightly playing that game. I just basically waiting for other new content to come out. But that's been my week mostly. And with that, we can jump into the spicy weekly raid.
Yeah, we love drama here at MMOs.com. And this week delivered. All right.
This week was a week of drama, and it created some good reading, good conversation, and we all love drama, so let's tackle it. Go out there. Explain the drama.
So, 2 people that worked at ArenaNet, which makes Guild Wars, got fired this week. Usually not a big deal, but this is a little... Okay, this is weird, because Twitter was the cause of this firing, or I should say a tweet. So we have Jessica Price here, who is a writer on the team. And so this guy, Dorier, who is, by the way, a big name in the community. He's like a partner. Like I don't know what he does, like stream content or something.
Yeah, he does stream content.
Yeah. So he tried to give her some feedback on her, I guess, her writing style or something. So I'll read the tweet. Really interesting thread to read, which you should probably read the full thread. But however, allow me to disagree slightly. I don't believe the issue lies in the MMORPG genre itself. As your wording seemingly suggests, I believe the issue lies in the constraints of the living stories and narrative design. 1 out of 3. So, okay, this obviously needs context. He's responding to her complaining, or not complaining, but describing the fact that it's hard to write a story for an MMORPG narrative. Because if you're writing a story, and she gave an example of Bioshock. If you're playing Bioshock, you know you're playing a certain character, right? Like you're stuck in this Bioshock world, and you got to do shit. But in MMORPG, how do you write the story so that I can relate to it, and if a female orc player can relate to it, and you know, all kinds of different players have to be able to relate to this one character. So you have to write like a generic character, you know. It can't be like a tough guy or whatever.
Yeah.
So she's complaining about that, and this guy gives some honest feedback, right? And she doesn't take it so nicely. She says, "This is her. Today, in being a female game dev, allow me, a person who does not work with you, explain to you how to do your job."
Like, what an over-exaggeration. Why is she bringing the whole gender thing to it? That's the first thing I read. I'm like, what? If she just took that first part out, real talk, 99% of people would not be as offended. That first sentence, I think, really hurt her case. Because she made it into this weird gender issue when I think it clearly wasn't. And she could still be a little bit snide. That second remark would have been, it would be in poor taste, but I don't think she would have been fired if it was just that second comment.
Well, that's the thing. She got fired for this.
Yes.
Now, I think she's just looking to be offended, right? Nobody brought up gender here, right? Nobody. Yeah. So she brought that up. She's looking to be offended. And she, all right. But I don't think she should have got fired for this. I think firing, no, she should not have been fired for this.
She should have been fired, and she should be put on an industry blacklist where she can't be hired again.
Well, that's another thing I was going to link you. There are people on official forums, they fired her, and they made a statement about it. They actually tried. All right, so let me find the Giazo I took here. Too many windows open now. Basically, this guy said, well, maybe we shouldn't fire her. Maybe you should have instead, kept her and told her, not to do it again. So she learned and she becomes a better person. And the guy responds, I hope she doesn't get fired ever again.
Yeah, I'm with that.
What?
You don't want somebody like this working in your company. That's why. Frankly speaking, she's just an asshole. She's literally antagonizing her game's player base on Twitter, and she works so that she's a representative of that company, talking about Guild Wars 2. Had she been talking about like women's issues, something else, like outside, if she wasn't talking about Guild Wars 2, I am with you. She should not have gotten fired. Because she's talking about literally her job and the company she works for and the game she works for, at that moment, whether she's on the clock or not, she's a representative of ArenaNet, and what she says reflects on the company. And if the company antagonizes one of their content, this guy's considered like an ArenaNet partner, right? His stream is very involved with the community, and he's not just a random streamer either. He's a well-respected content creator for Guild Wars 2. And when you're gonna be an asshole like that publicly, there's no defense of it. Get the axe. Done. Gone. Fired. Out of the office.
The problem with that, though, is she's not on, like, the community team, right? She's not, like, the PR guy.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. And the thing is, she's posting on her personal account on Twitter.
Yeah. What does that matter? It doesn't matter.
Well, here's why it matters. Are we not allowed to have opinions outside of our company? Let's say I work for Pepsi, okay?
Sure.
And then some guy, I'm at the bar, and some guy asks me, hey, what do you think of Trump? And I say, oh, I love Trump. I hope he builds a wall, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a Pepsi spokesman. I'm a
That's
spokesman.
fair.
I'm a me spokesman. So if she says this, I think it just reflects on her. Why can't she have a personal...
Hold on. The problem is when you're at the bar and you're a Pepsi employee, you're not discussing Pepsi products with a Pepsi customer, specifically on a Pepsi issue. This is very clearly... By the way, this was like a follow-up to an AMA. She did an AMA about Guild Wars 2, and some of that kind of spilled over to Twitter, where she was answering questions about the game. Like, this is very clearly involving the game that she works for. Had this been... Look, my point was, had this been about anything else but Guild Wars 2, this could have been about any other video game, I'm with you. She shouldn't get fired for sharing her opinion about any other video game. But it's reflecting on ArenaNet the way she handles it. If she's an asshole while discussing her job on her game that she works on, it's reflecting the company. 100%.
Dear God, it was set on her personal account.
Yes.
Not on the games company account. This is her personal account. So
okay. So Altay, I'm curious. Let's say you're Blizzard, all right? And I'm the story writer for Blizzard, right? I'm on my personal Twitter account. Let's say we should kill all the black people in America. Let's say I dropped that on my personal on my personal Twitter account.
Okay, fine.
In fact, one of the biggest streamers messaged me on Twitter, publicly asked me a question about their characters. You know what? Your character is too dark tone. I think it should be deleted along with all the other people that play this character. If I said something that stupid, right? No. Why shouldn't I be fired?
Let's make it simpler than that. So imagine I work for Blizzard, right? I write the story for WoW or whatever, and I say,
sure,
the WoW story is so stupid. I can't believe people will take this seriously. Like, it's the worst writing ever. And you know what?
And you write it.
I'm part of the team. Let's say. But whatever. Like, it's crass, but like I don't think you should be fired for that. And it gets worse. The story gets worse, by the way.
No, and there's more to this tweet too. She referred to these people as asshats. This guy was being referred to as an asshat too. You're antagonizing your customers at the point. That's the biggest issue. Look, if you don't want to don't talk about your job or your game on your personal account. The moment you are being seen as a representative of the company you work for, guess what?
You're not why are you being seen?
Because you're talking about your job and to your company's customers. When you're talking about that,
okay.
Again, like I said, so by your logic, the guy who says kill all black people or something equally stupid on Twitter, you would defend that guy, right? You say he should be fired,
but
why?
I would defend him, but for some reason, I believe if it's on your personal account, that should stay. You could not invite that guy to the party or whatever, but that should be separate from your work. And I think in this world that we get to, right? This world that we're getting to with stuff like this, is going to create such a weird environment where we have no outlet, right? You have to act a certain way at work, at the office, right? You have to act a certain way at school, whatever. But we're getting to this world where there's literally no free space going to be left. The internet was supposed to be that. I have no problem people unfriending her on Facebook or whatever, not inviting her to the raids or whatever because she's an ass clown. But when she loses, if it's not taking away from her ability to write, right, the story, and people are consuming the story, it's generally well received. If it's not detracting from what she's being paid for, it should not be.
Okay, so again, you would say somebody who publicly says we should kill all X people and literally being like a Nazi on Twitter while advertising that they work for your company while they're talking about your product, like specifically engaging in your customers with your product, with her job title at your company, the way she behaves reflects on the company. That's a fact. Had she talked again, like I said, had she talked about any other game, had she talked to any other, like, it was more in the, she's literally talking to Guild Wars 2's customers about her job there. It's going to reflect on the company, and they did a beautiful job letting her go.
I will admit that she's an edge case because as people have said in the chat, she has a history of being confrontational and rude like this. Okay,
she's an asshole. She's a professional. She wants to be a victim. She wants to create drama.
Exactly.
It's very like honestly, when I read tweets like this, it really, I think it hurts the side she pretends to take up, right? The feminist case. Because listen, I'm no SJW, and I make fun of SJWs, but there is a real
you
problem.
are an SJW if you think she'd be fired for this.
What?
If you think she should be fired, okay.
I think she'd be fired. If it was my company, I would fire her. Ultimately, it's ArenaNet's job, and 100% they do whatever they want, right? If it was my company, I would fire in a heartbeat because it's antagonizing my customers, making me lose money, and it's not reflective of my company's behavior.
How is it making you lose money? But anyway, I don't want to get into details about that. She's only a representative of the company because we're assuming everything someone does off hours represents the company. Why is that
the reality?
I got a newsflash for you. Every company in America has racist people under their employ right now.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but most of them keep it quiet. They're not on Twitter.
Yeah, right? And guess what? Every single time one of them says like we should kill all XY people.
Why are you trying to kill them? There are
people say that they lose their jobs. People say that today and they lose their because it's reflective of the company. When they invoke like their position at the company, I think you make a
problem
point
with our society. If people are thinking that way, right? I'd rather hear it, so I know that we have to correct that behavior. And that
we should hear it. We should fire them and get rid of them and ostracize these people.
You don't get rid of them by firing them. You just drive them into to some crazy organizations on.
This lady clearly look. Obviously, we don't know the entire story either. I guarantee people at the office just probably hated her because from the kind of person that she is.
Look, I agree. She's a bad person, whatever, and she's done this before. But that's not the whole story. Some guy got fired for defending her as well.
I don't know the context about the guy defending her, but I just PM'd you an image I want you to share. This is a tweet that she made. She's such an asshole.
Hold on. First of all, why couldn't Guild Wars? If I was the boss, I'd say, listen, you're getting a lot of bad press, right? I want you to stop tweeting. If you do that, you can stay. But if you keep tweeting like this, I will fire you. She should have got a warning like that instead of firing her. Because
the problem is, the moment she said this, right, all her other previous shitstorms came up too, like this tweet, for example. I doubt her boss at Guild Wars follow her Twitter account and knows all the bullshit she said, right? But when all the bullshit comes out, you gotta cut ties with her. They didn't keep tabs on this woman on everything she's tweeted. But when she says something like the kindest they can say is, this was in relation to Total Biscuit's death. She tweets that she basically celebrates that Total Biscuit died. You don't have to like the guy, but why on earth would you say something so inhuman like this? You're just an asshole. I don't care who it is. This is such a douchebag thing to do. It's inexcusably an asshole, and they probably, once all this shit came out, like we don't want to, we want to get rid of her. They don't want to reform her. She's toxic.
Look, okay, she could be toxic. You can say stop.
Why are you
tweeting?
Just get rid of her? Why are you defending her?
I'm defending her because I'm defending freedom. Okay.
Yeah, the freedom to fire. You know that, right? They're allowed to do that.
Sure, they're allowed to do that. I'm not saying they're not. But we're gonna get to if we do this, right? We're gonna get to a world where companies are gonna get to decide everything you can think, everything you can say. If you say, maybe McDonald's not good for you, you're gonna get fired from your job at as a police officer. Is that the world you want to live in?
Hold on. If you're but that's not the case, because if you're like a McDonald's food safety guy and you're tweeting that McDonald's is hilariously bad, yeah, then you're gonna get fired. But if that's a limitation on work. Like when you represent your company, you have to follow their policy.
What do you mean represent? If you work for a company, you gotta do everything they say. That's basically what you're saying.
She was literally engaged in talking about her work and her company.
Extreme. She's extreme. I get it. But I'm saying, if just because I work for a company, now everything I can say on the internet, whether it's inside a game, I'm playing a game, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, what kind of videos I can make, everything I can do in my life, who I marry, is decided by this company I work for now. It's a slavery.
But that's not what's happening.
It is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying when you represent your company,
she's not representing her company. She's representing herself. That's what she's representing.
At her company, talking about her work at that company.
Okay.
Anyway, look at this other tweet. I thought this is just beautiful irony, and this actually makes me so I laughed when I saw this previous tweet as well. So this other tweet she put out a while ago. I don't know if you remember who that guy at Google who was fired. Do you remember his name?
The Moore.
Demore. When Demore was fired at Twitter,
Yeah.
she replied to this guy who says like, "Does anybody understand the First Amendment?" And she replied, "Shouldn't have to keep saying this, but the First Amendment only protects from government censorship. Social/financial consequences of free speech working as intended." So she's advertising that Demore, who got fired at Google for passing a memo about women in the workplace, that was a great thing, and free speech is working perfectly. When the exact thing happens to her, where she gets fired for spreading her bullshit, that is just a beautiful irony at its finest. She was celebrating this guy at Google losing his job for passing, privately, literally privately, internally discussing workplace policies at Google for women. That was a beautiful thing in her eyes. But when she loses her job for the same thing, this is. I agree with her. This is First Amendment working as intended. God bless that she got fired for this.
Okay. Once again, by the way, just because she's wrong about someone else being fired over nothing doesn't mean it makes it.
It's not over nothing.
She's a bad person. She's a hypocrite. Whatever. Okay, I get that. I'm not defending her character. I'm saying this is going to lead to more control. Our lives are going to be more controlled by.
The only part that I think is the logical conclusion from this is when you're talking about your company and your work, you do it in a professional way. That's it. Whether you're on the clock or off the clock, if you don't like it, you're going to get fired. That's the reality of it. And it's always been the reality.
That has not always been the reality.
Before the moment when social media, when internet came along, the moment you represent your company in poor light or act unprofessionally with your customers, you're done. If you're a sales rep at IBM or some shit, right? And whether you're on the clock or not, if a customer calls you and you tell him to go fuck himself, you're gonna lose your job. Guess what? You were off the clock, right? You told them, fuck you, I don't want to deal with this shit right now, and you start spouting racist shit.
Every single one of us has moments like that. Okay.
Yes.
We get angry.
And it's our job.
Maybe she's drunk. Okay, whatever.
She was drunk when she wrote this. No,
By the way, it's very. Look, our president goes on Twitter and just harasses people. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So this is the world we live in.
If our president works for a company, he'd be fired.
You're fired. Anyway, my point is. By the way, guys, I am currently enjoying a 7-day ban on Twitter myself.
Yeah. Good for you, Altay.
So look, and here's what happened. And I can see how they misunderstood it.
Of course, they misunderstood it.
No. Let me explain it, and then you can decide.
Explain your story.
So here's what happened, guys. I'm curious what your opinions on this are. So it was a tweet about a video of that Trump supporter with the hat in the fast food joint, and some guy came over, stole his hat, and dumped soda on his face, right? And then walked out. And I let this is the response to that, something along these lines. I hope this becomes a trend, so I get to see a video in the future of someone trying this on a redneck, with a gun, and then getting shot. Because it'd be a good content for me, like a funny video. Like, not really funny, but kind of morbid. Now, they banned me for 7 days because they assumed I was trying to incite that action. Like, I was, right? What I was trying to say is, if this becomes a trend of, people taking these Make America Great Again hats off people's faces, eventually they're going to take the hat off someone who's like some redneck guy with a gun, right? And like
you got banned, and I'm not... I don't think it was an unjust ban. Maybe,
I wasn't trying to imply that you should shoot them. Just that it will happen if you do. If it becomes a trend that thousands of people are taking these hats off people and Trump supporters' heads.
It's going to happen. Yeah,
eventually,
for sure.
One of those guys is going to pull a gun, right? Yeah. I was not saying you should do that. Just that it will happen eventually if this becomes a trend. Anyway, so that's my ban. I can see how that was misunderstood, right? And if I worked at fucking ExxonMobil, I'd probably be fired over this, right? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But why?
Wait, why? Because they're your employer and they can fire you at will.
Sure,
and if you make them look bad, they're gonna fire you.
If that video came out, right, of someone doing that, some guy taking a "To Make America Great Again" hat and some guy shooting him, everybody would be watching it. It'd be like news. It'd be on the news. Everyone watching it.
Yeah, of course.
So why should I be fired for saying, "Oh, this is gonna happen"? It's interesting.
I want to see how your story relates to this, but the point is, I read several of her interviews. She gave numerous statements over to I think Polygon and Kotaku. But what's really hilarious is she still plays the victim the entire time, and it actually really frustrates me because she was given she just doubled down on everything she said. At no point did she feel like she did something wrong.
Oh, look,
and when it was obvious,
I don't care about her personal character. Like, that's not. Look, she's obviously. By the way, just that first tweet, she's obviously looking to be a victim, right? She's looking for people to be like.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not trying to defend her character. Okay, that's not my issue here. I'm just saying, if you're okay with this, by the way, you're okay with that Demore guy being fired too, right? Then no issue with that.
Yeah, of course not.
So you have no issue with anyone firing anyone for any reason.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
But yeah, ultimately it's up to the company to fire whoever they want for the reason they want. And I can say in certain cases it's more justified than other cases, you know.
I'll give you. Okay, so by the way, guys, I know someone in chat probably knows about this. So the other guy who got fired for defending her, I think his name was Peter. Someone mentioned that he had worked at ArenaNet for 12 years.
Okay.
Imagine working for a company for 12 years, and then being fired because you are saying, "Hey guys, wait a minute, maybe you shouldn't fire her over this. Maybe
Is that all she said? Is that all he said? Because I didn't read his tweets and interjections.
No, he was just defending her, saying, "Oh, this guy, whatever." But he got fired. Like, what kind of like? It's clear from this story that this ArenaNet has no loyalty to its to its employees. 12 years. That's a quarter of his career lifespan. Right?
Right. Look again. The problem is she was very clearly speaking. I don't know his story. I don't know his specifics, right? Because everything I read talks about Jessica Price.
If I'm an employer and my employee for 12 years, okay, I would not fire him the next day. By the way, this was literally the next day he got fired. They both got fired. One day. And the boss said the only reason it took a whole day is because it was July 4th. It was a holiday. They were off work. So this guy worked for you for 12 years, and because he defended someone on Twitter, right? You fire him immediately. The next working hour that you're in the office, you fire him. Like,
it's up to them. Yeah, sure. She's clearly toxic, and I guarantee that they're off. They were looking at her previous tweets, and they found that she's a horrible person of working in your company. Somebody that celebrates the death of a respected, well-known streamer, and all other shit she said on Twitter. She's clearly toxic waste, and all that became public to ArenaNet like after this happened, right? Because like I said, ArenaNet isn't literally monitoring all her tweets. They don't give a shit about her. It only came to everyone's attention after this. So yes, they want to get rid of her. And thanks for the subscription.
What about him? What about,
I can't speak for. I don't know about that.
I can't speak. I don't know the details either. And someone in chat mentioned that maybe he was also on the shit list for being an asshole before this. I don't know. But assuming he's just a normal average worker for 12 years before this.
But yeah, I agree. That's awful. If he was literally just an average worker and all he said was, maybe we shouldn't fire. If that's all he said, that's fine. But I don't think there's no way that's all. That's so incomprehensible. You'd be fired for just saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't fire. No, he must have also. I think maybe he was one that called other people asshats. Like, if he was also attacking the customers, he should be fired. That's all there is to it. Look, when you're engaging your customers, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on the phone, whether you're on the clock or not, doesn't matter. The moment you are representing your company, where she self-identifies as a employer of ArenaNet and everything, like, and there's literally like talking about her job, her writing the game, and the customers directly. You can't do that. That's it. Just don't be an asshole to your customer. Be an asshole to anyone else. That's it. And it blows my mind that she made this a gender issue because, slightly off topic here, I do think that if you're, a woman working at a gaming company or literally a girl that plays video games, you are harassed at a higher rate than men are harassed. Like, real talk. Like, when a girl hits the push to talk button on Overwatch or any game with voice chat, real talk, we all assume she's going to be worse. She's like a support main. She probably sucks, right? And anytime that you see a girl with like a diamond rating or a really high rating, the first thing you think of is that she probably got carried there by her boyfriend. Very rarely will you think, oh, she's probably a really good player at this game. I'm guilty of that too, I think. When I hear like, oh shit, this girl's really high rated, she probably got carried by her boyfriend or something. That's my first thought as well, because that does happen a lot, but it's not always the case. So I do think there's this almost subconscious level of discrimination, maybe some negative thought to girls in gaming. So, but what she's doing is literally hurting the cause so much because people are going to be double down against this bullshit. Like, people are going to be more jaded when they see stuff like this, because I'm sure there'll be cases where maybe they might get unjustly fired. But from everything I've read, she got exactly what she deserves. She just seems like an unpleasant person to work with. She did a really shitty thing to antagonize her customers, and she got exactly what she deserved.
So I can't see why this couldn't be discussed internally and a decision made.
It was discussed internally that, holy shit, she's so toxic. What the fuck were we thinking hiring her? That was the thought process of the guy that hired of the president of the company, the co-founder, who fired her directly. It wasn't even I don't think it was even her HR manager. It was literally the president of the company that fired her.
Yeah. By the way, guys, I have a conspiracy theory. Are you guys ready? I'm gonna cue the X-Files music. 1 sec.
All right, let's hear the conspiracy.
I got a conspiracy. No, as far as I know, nobody's reported on this yet. Made this connection.
Okay.
All right, this is Alex Jones Silva connecting going on. All right.
No, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
X-Files song. All right, here we go, boys. Gotta play it.
Blackback, again, people are, there is definitely a negative connotation with female gamers, and it is unjust and unfair to her, and I'm a little guilty of it too. But what she does really hurts her case.
All right, here we go. Music got cued. Here we go. This is what really happened, guys. All right. So there was a tweet storm. This would not have made the president's eye. This would not have caught the president, because like you said, it wasn't his manager that fired her, right? It was the president of the founder of the company fired her. And this is why they did it. Ready? ArenaNet is owned by NCSoft. NCSoft is based in Korea. A few months ago, Korea had a huge scandal over some hardcore.
A year ago, I think.
This hardcore feminist group was causing all these problems in Korea. You guys can read the story here. Basically, what happened is the incel movement, I guess you could call it, is much bigger in Korea. So a few of these feminist employees tweeted a few funny, jokey things like these guys, these gamers have small penises or whatever, right? And then they got freaking harassed up the ass by this group of incels, and the companies had to end up firing a lot of these women. This one woman merely retweeted something with one keyword in it that was like related to this feminist movement. Nothing derogatory, and they got an inquisition against them. So NCSoft learned from this that they didn't want to deal with this feminist stuff at all. So I think the president of NCSoft called the ArenaNet guy and said, "Fire everyone involved in this. Don't review it. Don't do anything. Just get it done with right away." And that's why it went so fast.
So the interesting bits about that story that Altay was talking about, like there were several voice actors fired for a South Korean game. I think it was closed. It was for Soul Worker Online, I believe was the game, right? Mm-hmm. So what happened was, I think I might be mixing up a few stories, but the gist of it is, I think one of the voice actresses for Soul Worker was wearing a T-shirt that says like, "I don't need a prince to save me" or something.
Just
right?
That got them fired. Just wearing this shirt in Korea.
And that shirt was sold by a radical feminist group called Mongolia, and that group is very much hated by a lot of gamers. Really hate them. And they do some very extreme things, like really, really extreme, stupid things, like basically saying, if you're pregnant with a boy, you should get an abortion. You should only have a kid if it's a girl. Like they're very radical feminists, right? So anyone associated with them in any way, whether it's if you like any of their tweets, if you wear any of their merchandise, your company, you will get fired from the company you work for, even if you like a tweet. So there was one case, I think, with the IMC Games, the guys that make Tree of Savior. The guy who started that company is very well respected in the industry. And when one of his employees was caught, like what she did was she liked a tweet that was not very radical, but one of the random tweets from this group. She was interviewed, and like everything she was asked about, every tweet she ever liked, all her thoughts on like feminism and everything. And at the end, they let her go. They didn't fire her, right? But it shows how much more extreme this kind of behavior is in South Korea. And what happened actually was pretty remarkable, because there was two actors that were fired from Soul Worker. After the company that makes Soul Worker fired them, the game's player base jumped 200%. Like people flocked to the game to like reward them with players for firing these two girls. And in fact, the employees at the office received like gift baskets because the male gamers just wanted to reward them for firing them. So maybe I think Altay's trying to say maybe because ArenaNet's parent company is NCSoft and they're based in South Korea. This like controversy has plagued NCSoft, Nexon, IMC Games, like all the big companies in Korea have dealt with this. Then maybe they just gave a phone call to ArenaNet to just fire, end this at the bud. But I don't think it has to be a conspiracy though, because I don't think you have to dig that far in. Because arguably a lot of the stuff that's happening in South Korea is really bizarre. Like firing somebody for wearing a T-shirt seems insane.
Yeah, I think you guys should definitely read this article on Kotaku about this movement and how intense the hatred of like these female feminist people are in Korea.
Ready though? Altay. Ready? Kotaku? Fake news.
All right.
I hate this like use Trump's terms, but like
what? Why is it?
I was really upset like when I was reading this story, right? What I did was basically the day it came out, I put my own post on MMOs.com about it. Very clear. I linked to the Reddit thread. I linked to the original tweet, and like I tried to not editorialize it too much. It seemed like a bit ridiculous, and I left it out there, right? But then when I read Kotaku, I read Polygon, I read GameIndustry.biz, I read like 5 different outlets for this exact story, massively OP, and every single outlet, every single one is defending Jessica Price. It seems so obvious to me.
Hold on,
but it seems so. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Finish.
Right, my point is, it just seems like, but the players are so very much almost on board that she should have gotten fired. There were some people, not everyone obviously, but the vast majority.
She should get fired. I get that, but listen,
yes.
here's the issue. she made that tweet about Total Biscuit, right? Which, by the way, in my opinion, is 100 times worse than this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But the point is, it didn't represent ArenaNet. She wasn't talking about Guild Wars 2. She wasn't talking about writing stories for Guild Wars 2 or ArenaNet. That was her personal opinion. But the moment you're talking about your job at your company to your customers, that's different.
Even if she got fired after a couple of weeks or whatever, or even days, I'd get it. But the fact that it happened so quickly, right, by the founder, okay, I think it supports my theory that this was not ArenaNet's choice. This was a call from the boss, the super boss, back in Seoul, Korea, where they hate women. By the way, I think Korea is like literally the worst in the OECD for like, female. If you get an abortion in Korea, you go to jail. So anyway, porn is banned in Korea. So it's this huge, which is weird world. Everyone hates the Middle East for all this gender inequality, but East Asia is just as bad, guys. Don't let them trick you, right? Turkey, Middle East, it's a good place. Anyway, so this was won by NCSoft. It was not ArenaNet's choice. That's my conspiracy.
Yeah, whatever. But my point is that all these big media outlets, it just seems so bizarre that so many of them, like, maybe Master was a bit more neutral, but they were very much like blaming ArenaNet and NCSoft as like almost like making the poor choice, and they all like basically said that like they're betraying their employees.
They did betray. Look, guy worked there 12 years. He doesn't get like a warning to just shut up and not be on Twitter. What if he tweeted, "I'm sorry. After further inspection, I was wrong. She was being rude, and therefore I apologize." He didn't get a chance to say that. All right.
So out of curiosity, let's say with you work at Google and you start tweeting really racist shit on Twitter.
No.
Hypothetically,
no.
Do you think you should be allowed to say, "Oh, JK, it was all a joke"?
Okay.
No, you should get your ass out of the building and you're fired. You should never work there again. That's it.
Cool story. Now let's say someone tweeted, "Hey guys, I work at Google as well," and that Demore guy, I don't know if he should have got fired for that. It wasn't, he was just kind of saying his opinion. And imagine I got fired for that, for defending him.
Hold on, but are you saying that's what happened? Because if that's what happened, I agree that was bullshit. He should have gotten fired. But I don't think that's what happened. There's no way they would fire him for literally just saying that.
They would if the order came from Seoul.
No,
yes.
No.
See, the order to fire them came from Seoul, and the guy, ArenaNet guy, had no control over it. That's what happened. All right.
I don't think that's what happened.
That's what happened, boys. I'm calling it.
Yeah. I gotta find
OG reporting. Okay, from your man Altay right here, live.
No, I want to see if I can find the original tweet by nobody shares the tweets by Peter Fries, apparently, the guy that defended her, apparently. So I can't find what he said exactly. But I agree. If you're firing over just literally defending a colleague, you should be allowed to apologize and say all that shit. But I'm talking specifically about this woman, and most of the mainstream coverage was unusually disconnected from the way the Guild Wars 2 community felt. And whether you like it or not, ArenaNet does not answer to SJW. They answer to their customers, no matter what.
ArenaNet answers to one person, NCSoft. That's it. They're 100% owned by NCSoft. That's the only person they respond to.
Yes, and guess who who NCSoft answers to? Do you know who they answer to? It's their customers.
No, they're Korean customers.
What? No, they want to make money. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
all their customers.
And where does most of their money come from?
South Korea.
Okay, and in South Korea, the male gamers are hugely anti this feminist movement, right? And NCSoft said, "Holy shit, we don't want a fucking lashback."
What you're saying isn't related, because what I'm saying is no, because
she got fired. They both got fired because of NCSoft and the drama and the politics of South Korea.
These are not mutually exclusive, because you realize the Guild Wars 2 player base overwhelmingly supports ArenaNet's decision.
Okay.
So they answered correctly to ArenaNet's customers. They could be also overlapping with the intentions from Seoul, from South Korea. But they answered but I don't understand why it was presented by Kotaku and Polygon as like they were just being really bad company. But they're not. They answered their customers.
Because it was so sudden, right? It was a quick decision, including the second guy who was there for 12 years.
Yeah, that's and what all makes the NCSoft customers.
If they said, "Look, you both post an apology. We're going to do an internal study, and then in a week we're going to either fire them or suspend them or something." By the way, a cop can literally shoot a kid in the middle of the street with 10 cameras on him, and he gets suspended. That's paid suspension. That's what he gets. And this guy has, "Hey guys, maybe you're being mean to this lady. I've been here for 12 years," and then you're fired. Get the fuck out of here. Next day, literally the next working hour.
I don't see how this whataboutism has anything to do with this. She was clearly toxic, and everything I've read about her.
Forget her.
She's gone. She's done. She's done. She's fired.
Okay.
I don't know about the other guy. I already said I don't know about the other guy.
Well, I do. Ready? He's part of it.
You do. What do you? Can you tell me verbatim what he said?
He said, yes, you're mansplaining, you're being sexist.
That's all he said.
So, along those lines.
Well, I don't know. If that's all he said, I agree with you, but I don't think it's all he said. Anyway, I think...
12 years! You think you owe him literally 1 day of investigation? Look, July 4th this happened. July 5th, when July 4th is a working holiday, as a holiday. So on 5th, 12 years, out the door. How much time could they have discussed it?
Again, we don't know the internal workings of... Maybe this guy had a huge file on him. Maybe he was the biggest asshole in the world. We don't know.
Come on.
Maybe this was the straw that broke the camel's back. However, it was mentioned specifically with at least with Price. She was never told like not tweet stuff before, because clearly Arena didn't keep tabs on her.
You'd think you'd at least warn her after she said, "Oh, I'm glad that guy's dead."
Do you think they knew about that? Do you think the Arena bosses follow her Twitter account and read everything she says? They don't care. The only time they read about it is when it gets news.
Oh, exactly. And then the founder of the company, all of a sudden, literally the next working day, fires both of them with no, like, come on. It's clearly an order.
She got fired with good reason. About Peter Fries, I don't know anything about it.
Whether or not she deserved the firing, I'm actually not interested in that. That's a boring question.
She should be fired within 2 minutes of making that tweet. The sooner the better. They waited too long, if anything.
By the manager, right? But the fact that it was the boss, the founder of the company that did it.
Why does that matter?
It matters because the decision did not trickle up in time. It was just a reaction clearly by someone above him.
I don't know. I think it's just fine. Things worked out.
Whether you agree with the result, I think the way it got there is suspect, and it was not made by the people affected. It was not made by It was meant to send a strong signal as well that bullshit like what she just pulled isn't tolerated. That was the fact that the founder firing her makes more meaningful that way. It shows that the founder is not going to take this bullshit. It sent a signal as well. If somebody is immensely racist at any company, they might be fired by the CEO for being an asshole, like publicly fired for being a douchebag. That's what happened basically. It was a PR stunt to fire her as well. Her firing became a spectacle as well. Okay, clearly, I will make a bet with you. Let's write this down. One of our many bets we don't follow through, and that it will come out in the weeks ahead, days or weeks, that this was NC Soft making this decision. Directly, without even looking into it. No investigation. Boom. We don't want any part of this feminist crap. You're gone.
I don't know. But yeah, I do think that there's a real problem with being a female gamer. When you open your the article, if you want to be just, I just experience it because when I play a game and a random girl will talk, people will instantly start harassing her. Like, it happens, not all the time, not like it just happens way more. So there's a real issue there, and the stuff that this whole fiasco is only going to hurt female gamers.
No, I think it's
quite a bit more.
If you think she should be fired, I hope everyone watching, you guys are okay with anytime like a streamer says like the C word or the B word, gone, banned. You should be okay with that.
How is that the same?
What? You being a douchebag on internet, you should get banned. You should lose your job, right? That's the new mentality.
These two things aren't related.
Well, if I say the B word, right?
If
I'm representing Twitch. I'm streaming on Twitch's platform.
You're not a Twitch employee. They're a platform.
No, I'm a contractor. I'm a contractor. I'm getting.
No, you're not.
I'm being paid. They get $2 per subscription.
Twitch is a platform. It's radically different than being an employee for a company.
You're a contractor.
Platform. You realize like Reddit is a platform.
Yeah,
as
no one's
well.
getting paid to post on Reddit.
And hold on, not every view held on every subreddit is the view that represents Reddit.
Yes,
Reddit
is not paying me to post on the Donald, but Twitch is paying me to post on Twitch.tv.
And guess what? If you're a Twitch partner and
we are partners.
If you're a Twitch partner, they do have the right to suspend you for doing really shitty things. It's their right to do it. Yes.
Okay, but that's the world we're heading toward, and you're okay with that. You're normalizing depriving people of their livelihood over some rude comments or whatever.
It's not rude comments. Oh, they're not the same. Look, her Total Biscuit tweet didn't even matter that much because it wasn't related to the job. Again, we're repeating ourselves now.
All right. Anyway, we can move on. My conspiracy will be proven right. You'll all see. Right.
I'm not,
definitely. We have even more. We have another fun story that has to do with internet drama.
Yeah, there was a bit of a follow-up to, I think, last week's or the weeks before drama. There was basically, we talked about the Final Fantasy XIV drama last week, and with a guy named Old Bear, and basically he was accused by a bunch of like girls in the game of basically being a sexual predator and doing all this other evil shit. And of course, the drama got spicier. So we talked about a lot of the accusations against him. We'll keep this one pretty brief, and you guys can kind of explore it on your own if you want. But basically, he had deleted his Twitter account, but now he's back after 24 hours, and he basically is denying all allegations against him. And he made his own website basically debunking all the evidence presented against him in the PC Gamer article about like all the shit he apparently did. Now, I didn't go through all of this stuff. There's a mountain of evidence here with chat logs trying to disprove all the slander against him about the things he did. And this kind of just goes back to what I was saying earlier, and I think we both concluded on our own that this was probably not that big of a deal, and that he's just some random internet weirdo, and that he's not some kind of rapist or some kind of sexual predator. He's just some pervy guy who flirts a lot, and that the claims a lot of the girls made were exaggerated. But it seems to pan that way as well, because I read a couple of these stories on here, and there's some chat logs in here. It very clearly contradicts a lot that was said in the original PC Gamer article about, you know, all these sexual predatory behavior done by this guy. And I think it really should have been obvious to anyone that looked into this with open eyes. Like, if you looked into this headline, if you looked into this story with a fair lens and not an SJW men are evil lens, I think you've arrived at the same conclusion that this guy is probably some weirdo, but it's not like some horrible thing. And after reading this, it definitely pans out that way.
Yeah, and here's some advice, some gender advice from Altay here, to you guys.
Let's hear the gender advice.
If you hear a story about like a couple that fought or some issue, right? If there's physical damage involved, like bruises or intimidation, it's the guy's fault. But anytime a woman claims they were emotionally manipulated or tricked or whatever, that's a lie. Because women are the ones who do that stuff. Men don't have to do that. Men can just punch you. Or they're stronger. It's the women who are evolved genetically and evolutionarily to be better at manipulation and turn the phrases and stuff. That's how women controls things, either other women or men. So anytime you hear a story where the woman is saying, I was emotionally manipulated, she's the one emotionally manipulating. Because the guy doesn't have to do that. The guy can just smash you in the head and say, go cook, you know? So that's my that's my gender take on that.
But what's particularly like telling about this Final Fantasy 14 story was even I listened to the one-sided like testimonies from these girls who claimed that this guy manipulated them, right? Their testimonies, which are obviously one-sided, representing what they want to say. I read the PC Gamer article, which only interviewed the girls, and despite all of that, every single allegation was so innocuous and like make me roll my eyes. Like there was no real like I listed two of the 40-minute long testimonies, and they were just eye-rolling like cringe. So even like that basis was so weak that I knew there was no real story here. It was just some internet drama that for some reason in the age, well, it's not for some reason, it's because in the age of the Me Too movement that this got a lot more attention than it deserved. And I think it really did a disservice to real victims of sexual abuse and sexual predators online. But if you like drama, it's worth reading the PC Gamer article and maybe following this guy on Twitter, because this guy he's fighting with everyone now. He is at the center of like people calling him like this evil rapist on Twitter. He's trying to defend himself on his blog. In a way, I feel bad for this guy. He's clearly some kind of pervy dude anyway, but like he got way more attention than he deserves, and he's getting a lot more hate than he deserves. So, rip this guy. It's just so like some of the. I'm sure he's presenting the evidence the way he wants as well, but it really discredits so much of the principal things that were accused against him. Like some of the chat logs he shows that these victims like just literally lied in their accounts, unless he fakes the chat logs as well. But then they can fake the chat logs as well. So it's a bit of spicy drama if you're interested in that.
Indeed, yeah. And guys, I'm not trying to discount real cases of this, of abuse, emotional or otherwise. Yeah, it says we clearly don't know either people in these stories, right? Yeah. We don't know the Janes, and we don't know this old bear guy. And I think as the media reporting has shown, Omer said, everyone took one side immediately, right?
But that's always going to be the case. That's exactly. Like another thing about like the like if a woman accuses a man of something, especially in this day and age, like whether it's true or not, the guy's kind of fucked. Okay, like if somebody says you raped them, whether it's true or not, it's just and most of the time those accusations are true. But like it's in this case, like this emotional manipulation. All, everyone wrote this guy off.
I don't even want to get to rape because, like I said, rape involves physical.
There's physical evidence, yeah, of course.
Not just evidence, but it's a physical act. But this kind of internet chatting, come on, like the women are just as in it as anyone else.
And what's actually pretty interesting is like this guy. There was like accusations of revenge porn against this guy, and he very clearly debunks that. In fact, he proves with chat logs that other people, like some of these other people, traded in his nudes, like behind his back, and he got proof of that too. So like, if anything, they were sharing nudes of him, like without him, like. Consenting.
If you're an adult and you send your nudes to anyone, as far as I'm concerned, you gave them permission to spread on the internet. Don't put nudes on the internet if you don't want them spreading. Like that is like 101 internet logic.
But yeah, true. But I still think you should blackmail for it. Any kind of revenge porn blackmail is kind of fucked up.
One person doing something wrong doesn't make the other party right for doing that wrong thing, right? But It's just a matter of perspective.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, there's just a lot of chat logs and a lot of treasure trove of just juicy drama here, if that's your thing. And it just what's really cringe about this website is he's got all these like quotes plastered on about the truth and how important it is. He's got like Obama quotes about truth and stuff on here. It's pretty crazy.
Obama quotes. All right, I got a good story. All right, fun story. This is too much heavy stuff. You know, like people
too much heavy stuff. Let's go. Let's get a little bit lighter.
People being harassed. All right, here's a better story. Roblox bans players who, quote, gang raped a 7-year-old's avatar.
What the fuck? This is lighter? This is pretty fucking heavy shit to me. Holy, what the fuck?
So this mother was walking around as her 7-year-old was playing Roblox. And, you know, they think it's a kid's game, right?
Mr. Faster, thank you for the 200 bits.
Ooh. And this is what she saw when she walked over to her 7-year-old's computer. I don't know if you can see anything here. Here we go. So I think what they did is they used the assets in the game to kind of make something that looks like a little bit like a penis. Do you guys see this? Do you see it?
Let me see this.
I don't know if I see a penis here. So
I can't see shit in that picture.
And then this is even funnier. So then her character, the 7-year-old's character, is on the ground, just when everyone else left, right? And this one is even more funny because it kind of looks like the aftermath. You know, they left her there.
What the? Oh, that last picture is hilarious. That last picture is actually pretty funny. I didn't see the penis in the last picture though.
Yeah,
so
I mean, look, I don't know. I don't really see it either. I'll be honest. But apparently, remember, they could only use the assets in the game to make this. So this is the best penis they could make, I guess. But anyway, she left this long triad warning. And obviously, Roblox has a zero tolerance policy and has banned the players involved.
Mm-hmm. But what did they actually do? Did they was there any chat logs of shit going down? Like what actually happened?
Nothing happened.
I mean, the chat log FFXIV 4K tree. What does that even mean?
Nothing happened. I mean, they had to. Girl 6 invited to a sex room while playing children's video game Roblox.
But how does that even? That's so bizarre. But I'm not surprised that it happens because anytime you have a chat room, anytime you have a virtual world with people, they're gonna cyber. I feel like that's a natural law of the universe. You know, you put people online in a chat room, there's gonna be some cyber business going on in everything. All right.
This one's more intense, actually. This story, a 6-year-old in the sex room. It looks like they're actually in a custom modded server.
This is pretty fucked up. That picture, that video you're sharing.
Now look, this is the good old internet, baby. This is the good internet. This is the internet I grew up with. I am pro Roblox now. Do you remember we would play
Altay likes what he sees, alright? Thumbs up for Altay.
Look, I remember as a kid playing Starcraft 1 custom maps. There'd be games like Protect Hitler or right? Do you remember
I remember that shit. That shit was dope. That shit was
people make custom games where some of them would be they'd be civilian Jews or whatever, right? The civilians named Jew, and then you had to corral them into the photon cannons or something, right? Whatever. Mm-hmm. It's harmless, you know.
Some harmless fun corralling those civilian Jews into the photon cannons. That actually reminds me of another when we first played StarCraft 1 on BattleNet. The first time I saw this emote, though you can't really see it well on Twitter, there's more spaces on. When I saw it on BattleNet, I was like, oh my god, it's like boobies in text form. I thought it was really hot. It's the first time I'm being exposed to this kind of stuff. I was 10 or something or 9, right? And the concept of naked girls didn't really appear in my mind. But when I saw that on BattleNet, Pistol, the one you drew, right? When I saw that drawn really well with the proper spacing, I was like, holy shit, boobies. And I remember on BattleNet, there was a game called Strip Kerrigan. I don't know if you remember that all type, but basically it was some kind of tower defense that every time you beat one wave of defense, the map gets revealed, the mini map gets revealed, right? And the mini map was shaped basically pylon shaped like a girl. You could see her titties and her vagina in the minimap form. It was drawn on the minimap. And I was I had to beat this map because 11-year-old Remo didn't know that you could find porn on the internet, you know. But back then it was really hard to find porn anyway. I didn't know it existed. I was like, holy shit, I got to see this girl naked. Fuck, I played that game all day. I got 80% there. I saw most of what I wanted to see, so I was like, fuck yeah. And this is before you knew how to whack off. It was just you just really appreciated it before you know what to do down there. So it was, and this was all unsupervised internet.
This was a whole trend too. It wasn't just Kerrigan. So I'm showing one on the screen.
This one's a joke one.
Strip Miley, yeah. But there was a whole series of these where the mini map gets slowly revealed as you clear certain stages.
Yeah, I don't think it shows. Some of those, you can actually see boobs on too, because they like import custom scripts into it.
Yeah. People on YouTube, they put something over the mini map. But basically, they would just use like the terrain to make a picture.
Yeah, but it was like there was definitely a certain beauty to this uncensored gaming experience, where people were assholes. But I think we've gone too far in trying to censor what people can do online. This goes back to a long-running discussion we've had for a long time of basically what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed. And I've always been okay with toxicity because just words, you can just block people on the internet. There's literally every game gives you a tool to do that. But I think if you start policing this as much as society, as we're doing in society now, it will let this stuff fester out. Because I think you made a good point before. Like, if this all boils up, right? If you can't find an avenue to vent, if I can't vent in an Overwatch game of yelling at somebody, like maybe like somebody might end up like shooting a school if he can't vent out over there. He might get so fucking pissed off that he's got nowhere to vent. It bottles up inside. It might explode somewhere else. I think there is definitely like a relief that comes from like venting this out. And I think it's harmless. If this guy wants to be an asshole, which people do in video games all the time, and I'm used to it, even with all the rules in place of not being an asshole. People are always assholes in League and Overwatch and any game. You mute them. You're done. Problem solved. So I've actually never muted anyone. I enjoy the shit talk because I shit talk back, and it's some of the most fun I have in online games is shit talking.
End of an era, boys.
It is definitely an end of an era to a degree. I'm not sure how your story about this Roblox gang rape is supposed to be lighthearted. I want to bring something a little more action lighthearted. Altay.
This not even a real penis. I don't know what this is. It's like a.
I don't know what that is either.
Like, come on, this is pretty funny. This is not rape, okay?
Sure, it's some nonsense.
Yeah, I thought
this is some actual some feels video. All right, it's a Reckful gets emotional talking about Asheron's call, because this goes back to one of the reasons we all play MMOs still. So I want you to listen to this very short clip.
Okay.
With Reckful.
With some grandpa. It was really
Put the volume up too.
He was dual boxing, and then his kids were like, "Why do you like this game so much?" And this is my favorite game ever. Why do you like this game so much more than other games? It's just like nothing compares. I don't ever feel lost in a world like I do with this. It's so cute.
I felt that way about
actually. Because I relate a lot to that. So
I felt that exact way about a game called Endless
I can
Online.
tear up talking about games. It's crazy. Like, it's
That's how you know you found your passion, though.
Okay.
Are you really?
No, I do miss being in a world like that.
And when was the last time you felt that way?
I'm kind of embarrassed.
Do you want a hug?
No.
Do you want a hug?
Okay.
I don't know, like 2005.
He's really,
With
you can
game?
tell it's there,
Like the beginning of. Oh man, I didn't actually play WoW Vanilla that much.
Wow.
So it's clearly Reckful being very emotional about the days he played Asheron's Call, and any of us played MMORPGs growing up. It's easy to get emotional because like these worlds that you escape to. For us, it was Ultima Online EverQuest. It was such a meaningful part of our daily existence, right? Like we would be lost in these worlds, and we got so much meaning and so much like depth out of these that you feel attached to them, and we're all looking for that feeling again to a degree. Why some people still look forward to MMORPGs.
Yeah, and I've always thought of it like how some kids like they grow up in their in the forest in their backyard or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, Omer and I basically grew up in Ultima Online and Norath in EverQuest. Like I remember we would just log in and we just walk. Sometimes we just go walking in the same zones we were familiar with. We'd go fishing. Mm-hmm. There'd be people that we would just check hang out with in certain areas and just talk. Yeah, it's definitely it's good memories, but. He's a little lost in it, I guess. I don't know.
No, I think it easily. When you're talking about it, it shows that he really cared for this game, and then it shows how much like the genre, like it meant to him, And I think it's hard to get that feeling from another kind. Like we played StarCraft 1 before we played Ultima Online, but we never felt the same way. It was never this emotional connection.
Do you know why? See, he's messing things up. I think people feel that way about their first experience and everything. I used to think Ultima Online, EverQuest, these were just great games, right? The best.
They were.
But listen, here's what changed my mind. I talked to I made friends with some Dota players, and they played Ragnarok Online 2. That was their first and only MMORPG. And these people were telling me how great it was. I had an amazing time. I had so many friends. We went on raids. We did like these PvP. It was amazing. Like I wish I could go back. Like I was like, wait a minute, this sounds like me when I'm talking about EverQuest, right?
Yeah.
Or Ultima Online. But they were so. I played at Ragnarok Online 2 for a bit. It was garbage. Like it was.
But hold on, the
trash.
point is, I don't think MMORPG. But the thing is, he had that feeling with an MMORPG. I don't think he had that feeling with an RTS, with an FPS. MMORPGs are more emotionally involved.
Yes, but my point is the quality is not what makes it good or bad. It's just like the first experience. You know what I'm saying? Like the first time you look at
that's
like
important. Yeah.
like Omer and I live in Las Vegas, and we're surrounded by mountains. And I remember when I first moved here, I sometimes would just look at the mountains, right? And I still do once in a while, but it was amazing. But then it just becomes the background. And I think it's the same thing with MMORPGs. Like you will not be able to relive that feeling of your first MMO. Like I'm sorry, the problem is not that there's not good MMORPGs coming out. It's that you just cannot relive that first experience.
I agree. The first experience is the most important because the guys we shared a few stories of people sharing their stories about their first MMOs. Some guy told me how RF Online was like the game for him, and it made him so emotional, and it was like the best game he's ever played. And there was a pretty sad story about that he shared too. So it is definitely more important with your first MMO. But the point is, it exists with MMO. Like it doesn't happen with FPS games because our first FPS game was Doom on DOS, like back in Windows 95 days. We played Doom back then. We played it a lot because it was like one of the only PC games we had. We just didn't have that same connection to Super Mario World as well. I remember Super Mario World vividly. I remember we played that game. Like I forgot, we were so young. It was the first video game we've ever played, the Super Mario World. When we first got our SNES, we were at our, the first house we lived in Patterson, New Jersey. And I remember that vividly, but I was never emotionally involved in that game the way I was with Ultima Online, with the friends I made in that game, with the enemies I've made, with the lore I created.
You can't make friends.
I was a part of that story, yeah.
But I will say,
and those are always more, emotional.
Yeah, yes, but that I think I kind of felt the same way about Starcraft though. Omer and I were pretty invested in Starcraft, and Diablo 2, which I know is not an MMORPG, but it was pretty close at the time. I think Diablo 2 I was pretty immersed in as well.
Yeah. And most will do that to you.
You didn't do Doom LAN parties? I think we were too young for Doom LAN parties. We did Counter-Strike 1.6 and Quake 3.
And Unreal Tournament 2K4 and Quake 3.
Yeah.
Those are the games we played in LANs. No, we got the heavy side of the way. Anything more lighthearted to share?
Okay. I love Ubisoft. I don't know how to pronounce it.
You love Ubisoft.
I love Ubisoft because they're just like trolls.
Fuck you, play. All right, continue.
I don't like you play, but I do like when D2 came out. Altay was like 10. I'm 30 now, so I don't know. I'm 30, so I think I was the right age for enjoying.
Yeah,
D2.
we both played Diablo 2 very early on. Yeah. Maybe not like on release day, but we played it within a year of release.
We played before the expansion came out.
Oh, 100%. We played before the expansion.
Yeah. And I think we were old enough to know what's going on. Like we weren't like really young. Anyway, so Ubisoft, I like the fact that they tell it how it is, and they use the phrasing that they know will annoy like the hardcore gamers, right? Mm-hmm. Here's a good case study here. Ubisoft VP says company moving away from finite experiences. I just love that phrasing.
Finite experiences?
You know what I mean? Like the single player, you play and beat games. Basically, yeah. They're hinting that they want to make more of those live services, the term that everyone hates now. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. Personally, I like live services. All MMORPGs are live services, right? Diablo 2 was a live service. So I'm okay with this term, but I can see why some people triggered by it.
Mm-hmm. Live services.
Shalan, Omer and I played a shit ton of Age of Empires 2. We played at least 1,000 hours each. Yeah. It was a big part of our childhood.
But again, despite that, MMORPGs have always left a more lasting memory. Like we played so much StarCraft 1, Warcraft 3. We probably more Warcraft 3 than most MMORPGs we've played, but for some reason, just the stories that we made and the experience we've had in MMORPGs were more memorable to us. And I think just the nature of the genre, which is why it's easy to get emotional about the first few you played.
I think Age of Empires 2 had a big impact on me. I remember I replayed all the campaigns to hear the dialogue. The quality they put into Age of Empires 2 at the time was amazing. They had the voice acted like scenes before each of the levels in the cutscene in the campaigns. Where they taught you the history.
Yeah. True.
I think I've told you guys my El Cid story, right?
Say it again.
All right. So early middle school, taking a Spanish class, right? in U.S. elementary school, public school. It's a joke, right? Hola, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And then for 1 week, for whatever reason, we're doing Spanish history week. Okay, so at that time, instead of teaching hola, all the colors and crap, they taught us about Spanish history. So the teacher's like, we're talking about El Cid, and then so she asked, has any of your the teacher was Spanish from Spain, and she asked, has anyone heard of El Cid? And obviously nobody's heard it. I raised my hand. I go, yeah, he drove the Moors out of Spain, took Reconquista. And she's like, oh my God, how do you know that? I'm like, yeah, I read it. I didn't want to say I played a game. I'm like, I read about it, just passing interest, In between Hola and Uno Dos Tres, I was just reading about El Cid. I think I got an A for the rest of it. She graded me so leniently after that, even though it didn't nothing mattered. It wasn't related to that. Good times.
Good times. Age of Empires 2 is a good source of history. All right. I think I learned Tenochtitlan from Age of Empires 2's expansion. All right.
Also, it helped me with that too. Actually, the Cortez shit, because around that year in our history class, we were talking about the Aztecs invading, and it was easy for me just because of Age of Empires 2.
There you go, boys. Age of Empires 2 should be mandatory.
Honestly,
mandatory for school
if they made you kids today are spoiled with Fortnite and crap, so they wouldn't play it. They would.
Kids today couldn't even beat the campaign Age of Empires 2.
No way.
They can't. It's too. Games have been dumbed down. You can't do it. I do really think there is some value if you can incorporate in a European history class, or for just play through the story of Age of Empires 2 as homework. Kids would love to do that shit, and it doesn't mean the whole time you're playing games, right? Maybe for one day, for one lesson, your homework is to go through the story of Age of Empires 2, and kids will have fun doing it. It's a game, but the problem now is games have gotten so much easier that maybe they won't be able to do it.
Yeah, I think
not
you're right.
That was difficult, by the way. The campaign was made to be pretty easily doable, but compared to today's standards, it's god tier difficult.
My NA brain can't handle boring games. I need royal loot boxes. Yeah, can you imagine a teacher showing kids Age of Empires 2 today, and then the kid's like, where's that loot box? How do I get new outfits for my militiamen? What are you talking about? Why do you want outfits for your militiamen? That's not the point of the game, goddammit. Build a base, upgrade your goddamn militiamen, attack. No, I want to upgrade.
That actually brings me back to an interesting point you were going to mention, Altay. So you were talking about the rankings in Starcraft 2.
Oh yeah, let me bring that up. I have that.
It's gonna. You said it's gonna trigger me, so I'm excited to hear it.
Okay, here we go.
This goes back to our discussion about games kind of getting a little more casualified, and this is you've heard me vent a lot about Overwatch's rankings. So apparently Starcraft 2 rankings are apparently worse. So let's hear it.
So here we go. So these are the worldwide ranking distribution in Starcraft 2 currently. And this is 1v1 ranked. Here we go. So bronze, which is the lowest rank, only 3% of players are in bronze. Then silver is 21, gold is 22, platinum is 23, diamond is 24, and masters is 5%. Now, what kind of world do we live in where the lowest rank is also the lowest number of people in it, and then as you go up from silver to diamond, they get more common?
That's insane.
What kind of distribution is this? I don't understand. It really baffles me. So basically, if you're not master, if you play StarCraft and you're not masters, you're not ranked as far as I'm concerned. What kind of ranking is this where diamond is more common than platinum and platinum is more common than gold? I don't get it.
It's this weird mentality of maybe making everybody feel good. If you just reshuffle these rankings and these words, it'll make people feel good about themselves. And it really does feel unbelievably stupid. Where gold is supposed to be good. If you're gold in the Olympics, right? You're supposed to be pretty good. But no, in this, if you're gold in StarCraft 2, you are literally below average. In fact, you could be in the bottom 25%. You could you could be the 25th percentile of player, and the game says, "Congratulations, here's a gold medal." In what world does that make sense? It's absurd. If you're bronze, to be bronze is pretty impressive. It's easier to be masters than bronze. Masters is 5%, bronze is 3%. It's so disingenuous that these words like gold and silver should have meaning, because these are the words we use in the Olympics, right? But you could be gold at this really stupidly low rating. If you're bottom 25%, you're gold. You could be a 25th percentile player and be a gold player. I hate that. And Overwatch follows a similar metric, though theirs is not nearly as bad. Overwatch is bad, but nowhere near this bad. How could that be top 25%? You give a 75 on a test and you're diamond tier? Come on.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of respect to these games that do this bullshit. This feel-good mentality, which I think isn't really doing anyone service.
Let me see
So,
what this is.
I linked you the League of Legends rank distribution. I still have so much respect for the rank distribution in League of Legends. So much respect because everyone is basically silver. And then if you're gold in League of Legends, it means something. It means you're in the like top 35% or so. That's not bad. You know, that's still kind of a stretch of what gold should mean. But when you have platinum, diamond, and masters, that makes some sense. And if you're platinum in League of Legends, you're like top 7% of the world. You know, if you're diamond, you're 1.7% of the world. You know, these meanings, they're much more relevant when the player base is kind of divided like this. You're automatically in the top like 30% on gold. This is so much more honest and so much like you don't have to like League of Legends, right? But like this just seems so obvious to me that this just makes more sense. Like, why are you? How do you justify giving a gold medal to someone that's bottom 25%? That it makes no sense to me. I would love to talk like I want an explanation from somebody that works at Blizzard that we gave. You're a bottom 25% player. We give you a gold medal. Give yourself a pat on the back. You're a gold player. It's just nonsense.
It's not so much the terms that bother me, like whether it's gold, amethyst, mithril. I don't care.
The distribution makes no sense.
The distribution should look like this, where it spikes up towards the beginning and then spikes down.
Yeah.
This is what the graph should look like. Whether it's bronze, silver, gold, or let's say bronze is gold. Let's say it starts at gold, then goes to platinum, then diamond, then like mithril, then like adamantium. I don't really care about that. Like if people like gold, make bronze gold. That doesn't bother me. I know Omer still thinks gold has some kind of connotation with like
it does have connotation, whether you like it or not. And
sure,
people don't know the distribution, right? Nobody's like your average player is not going to look up what the distribution or rankings is, right? So when he's told he's a gold player,
so let him feel
good. Fuck yeah, I'm really good at this game, guys. No, but let's say he wants to get better, right? Let's say he strives to be better, right? But he thinks he's already really fucking good because he's gold, right? But he doesn't. He's not. He sucks ass at the game and he doesn't even know. But this meant there was a pretty interesting study that I think like in 1930s or 40s. They asked kids in like grade school, "Are you special?" Right? Like 10% said they were special, like 1930s, right?
It was.
Are you special?
No, it wasn't special. They asked people in a survey,
"Are you important?
Are you an important person? Are you a very important person?" In the 50s,
they asked kids this.
Yeah. Okay.
And then very few said they're important because they're fucking kids. Of course, they're not important. Like I'm not fucking important either. None of us. Very few of us are here important. I don't think any of us in the chat are important either. But they asked the same. Okay, Altay. But then they asked the kids the same question like recently. Like in this day and age, and like 95% of people say they're special and they're important. People are living in a delusional world where if everybody thinks they're important, they're you don't have to think you're like you don't have to think like you're worthless, right? But to say you're special or important, like it's some bit of snobbery, Not that you should still feel good about yourself. You don't have to be like an important person to feel good about yourself. I don't view myself as like an important person. Like if I die tomorrow, the world keeps spinning. Nothing's gonna change. But it's just that mentality really carried over to gaming as well, which is I think it's creating an entitled culture where people will view things in a different lens, where they feel they're entitled to everything because they're just given medals in the games they play.
And some people will feel they're entitled to a warning after working at a company for 12 years. What assholes?
Mr. Chicken, hey Remo, if I believe I'm important, does that mean yes, Chicken, you are delusional if you think you're important? All right. You're a friend of mine, and I'm telling you right now, you ain't important, buddy. But okay, neither am I, all right? You're delusional, and I'm not important. It's not that nothing is important.
This is a positivity only stream, please. Positivity.
No, because I just for the most part, like, if any of us disappear, like from this earth, like everything would keep functioning. We're not saving lives. We're not like doing integral, important work in the workplace. Like. Maybe you are. I can't speak for everyone. I can speak only for myself. I can speak for Chicken as well because I know him, right? Chicken, you're not important. Neither am I. Altay, this goes for you as well. Altay, you are not important, all right?
Listen.
For the people I know, I can speak for. Maybe you got some people, doctors in here, saving lives. There's really important shit.
When I turn the stream off, I am literally saving the world. Okay, I'm keeping the Earth spinning.
All right, Altay. If you believe that, you're also delusional. Do you think you're an important person? Well, I know I value my life, but I wouldn't say I'm an important person. I'm not integral to society here. I know, not that you should still value yourself. It's just you gotta value yourself correctly. Bit nihilistic, but
guys, I'm actually a challenger in League, but the calibration system is off, and my teammates.
Yeah, when you play with people like Chicken, they just throw your games. There's not much you can do. Toxic can be replaced too, but whatever. My point is saying, if you're doing some important work, that's saving lives, doing some important shit. That's fine. What am I doing? I'm talking about rank distributions on a podcast. All right, that's what I'm doing.
So where would you put yourself? Okay, here's a good question, guys. Maybe next week, weekly raid. Maybe it's a post game talk right here. What would your rank be if IRL had rankings? Okay?
How do you measure the rankings?
Well, I guess it's an open question. There's no okay. So would you put yourself in bronze, silver, gold, platinum, or diamond, or a master? So let's say challengers are like presidents,
world leaders. Trump is challenger tier.
Yeah. So so let's say challenger is if you're a multi-billionaire or like a world leader, like the president of a real country like China. If you're like the president of a shit country like Estonia, that doesn't count. So bronze is if you're like a peasant in Africa or something, or like in India.
If you're an Indian rice farmer or a Chinese rice farmer, you're bronze tier.
Yeah. So where in this distribution would we be?
Again, it's very tough to measure this. Like my gamer skills is firmly in the Diamond Master Challenger category. All right, I like to think I'm top 1% in the games I play, which I think I demonstrably am. But outside of gaming, I don't know.
So someone
where's it unranked?
Unranked.
Damn, I'm probably silver.
If you're under 18,
I'm
you're
not
unranked. If you're under 18,
so.
you're gonna be unranked, all right? That's
if you're under 18, you're unranked. I think most of us will probably be silver or gold then.
Yeah. Remember,
we're probably silver.
If you guys are watching this, you're probably in America or Europe, all right? So you have some
disqualified from bronze.
Yeah, you have some understanding of math and reading and writing. There's a lot of people in this world who unfortunately still can't read and write, so they're probably the bronzes.
Mm-hmm. How does that affect Mr. Chicken? That just means like you could be gold, but you're decaying to silver. All right, that's what that means.
I mean, it means being. You need to.
You're decaying. Your rating is decaying from inactivity.
You got to recalibrate, right?
I'm actually excited to play some more HOTS later. I played like 10 games. I did all 10 placements earlier. I placed into Masters, and that was the only games I played. And actually, the ranks reset yesterday. So I actually completed my 10 placement ranks in HOTS like the day before rank reset. So they all reset today. So I want to do my placements again with a couple friends.
How'd you end up?
I placed in Masters.
Oh wow.
I was mastered with 1,000 points. That means like if I won 10 more games in a row and get another 2,000 points, I'd be 3,000 points masters. That means the top 100. Apparently, HOTS thinks I'm really good at that game, and all I do is I play my placements. That's it.
So, but Mr. Chicken doesn't believe you. So you placed masters.
I placed masters 100 with not only I placed masters 1,000 points into masters. So that's already firmly close to grandmaster. Yeah, that's like the top. Like if you get top 100, I think you're 3,000.
Wow. So at least in the HOTS world, you are not a bronzy.
Here you go, Chicken. There's my placement. You can look. I did my 10 placement games, and there's my ranking. My friend's like, what the fuck? How'd that even happen? Because all my friends placed like platinum, or one of my friends plays like diamond 3 or something, diamond 4 or 5. And then everyone I play with was either platinum or like low diamond. And the game's like, you know what, Remo? You deserve this Masters, all right?
Is this team a league? What does that mean?
This is a team league.
So your Masters.
Yeah, but everyone I've played with was also in platinum or like diamond, low diamond. Nobody I play with is high rating.
Okay, so is your team league different than your solo though?
Yeah. There's solo queue only, which I respect a lot actually, because I think league has solo and duo, which I think is kind of lame. I think solo queue is the best measure of skill, individual skill, always, because you can't play with somebody else, and you can't. It's literally impossible to carry if you're playing solo. But this is separate. They have separate ratings for solo and team. But league is solo and duo combined, which I don't like. I prefer the HOT system actually. I don't play a lot of HOT. The only time I play HOT is when one of my buddies asks, so I play with them.
Nice. So would you say placing masters in your placements is kind of like your dad paying Harvard to let you in?
Yeah, it's like being born with. I guess like for the IRL rankings, if you're the son of like a billionaire, I guess you're born into like platinum, or masters on that list.
You got good placements.
Good placements, boys.
All right. Anything else? What do you got? Anything else going on?
Kumai Kame, it's literally impossible for me to go pro in League or HOTS because I only play one hero in both games. I literally only play Gadzlo. I play Gadzlo in HOTS. The only hero I play. I have like 300 plus games as Gadzlo, and like I don't play anybody else. And in League, I only play Singed. Yep. MOBAs aren't your cup of tea then, Pistol, eh?
I don't know. My problem with the MOBAs is like I played so much Dota that like it just seems like so repetitive now.
Fair.
But I did call that HOTS would be popular. I remember years ago saying that to you.
Yeah.
Don't you guys know goblins are Jewish?
Yeah, goblins are 100% Jewish. I'm with you, Pistol. I hate relying on teams. But like, actually, what's pretty interesting is goes back to a different theory I had. If you look at Battlerite, the game's player base is a lot lower. It's been dying. It's been steadily declining, right? The beauty of a game like HOTS, League, and Dota is that you can always blame your team. There's so much like uncontrollable elements in the game of HOTS and League, right? Unpredictable as crit rates, just things that are out of your control, right? There's always room to blame. Games like Battlerite are much more precise. There's actually no RNG in Battlerite. None. Zero. Everything is very precise. Every individual attack is aimed. So whether you land attacks, miss attacks, dodge attacks, block attacks, are all determined by your skill. And there's, because of that, there's no room to really blame other people. The games are much more reliant on individual skill. As is a game like Starcraft 2, which is a 1v1 game. It launched with a bang, huge popularity, but because you couldn't blame anyone, those games failed. Because people realized they're not that good and they quit the game. But a lot of people play League. A lot of people play League and Dota and HOTS, thinking that they're God's gift to the game, right? They think they're God tier. They should be mastered. They should be top 100, but they're only being held back by their shitty teammates. And because of that mentality, they don't quit the game because they think they're really good and only their teammates suck. But you don't have that in Battlerite. You don't have that in StarCraft 1. And that's why one of the reasons I think those games are in decline.
I think StarCraft should get rid of unranked. It should be like Realm Royale. Where every match is ranked, but it's hidden. You don't know it's ranked. Because there's so much queue. What do they call it? Queue anxiety, right? Like in League and Dota and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably so much harder in StarCraft to know that every game if you queue, it's all on you. If you fuck up, you're gonna lose. So they should just force you to play ranked, and that way, the ranked number won't be so meaningful. I think.
The rank anxiety is definitely there. I have friends that say, "I don't want to play if we do ranked." I'm like, "Come on, who gives a shit?" It's like my rank in HOTS, even a match, I'm gonna play with anyone. I don't give a shit if I'm playing with my plat friends, my gold friends. I'm just gonna play with whoever. I don't really care. It's just literally a number on a game. The anxiety is worse. Just play the game.
That anxiety, I think, makes you just play worse.
I think so. 100%. Because you're worried that if you lose a game, like my numbers will go down, my peers will respect me less. I don't know what it is, but people do play worse because of the anxiety.
Indeed.
Yep. Well, anything else, Altay? Well, I mean, Warframe got a big announcement this week. Maybe just worth at least mentioning for our Warframe fans out there. So neither of us play Warframe, so it's hard for us to get excited for it, but there's a lot of shit happening in Warframe. They did their annual TennoCon, where they announced Fortuna, their next big update, which is coming in fall, basically doubling down on the entire open world concept that was introduced with Plains of Eidolon. So a lot more open world content. There's 2 new Warframes coming. Obviously, along with that will be new weapons, new areas, new quests, new zones, new items, all that jazz as well. Huge new update for the game. They're also doing something called rail check. Basically, up to 4 players can be like inside of a ship, and like you can man different turrets in the ship. So I guess remember that Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. Everyone's got their role in the ship, basically blowing apart enemies. In space. They showed off one mission, looked really badass. But the only thing I'm worried about is that, let me see if I can find you the clip actually before I talk about this. Is that mission looked really cool. But if they don't add multiple missions, it can get boring pretty quick. But what they showed off looked really cool. Here's Railjack over here. But Warframe is absolutely killing it. It's one of those games that basically every single month. I linked you a video. I linked you the video for Warframe. But Warframe every single month gets a bigger and bigger player base. Like very few games can kind of like continuously grow like that. Usually a game will kind of launch, grow, and then kind of peter off. But Warframe is consistently adding new players. And it gives you reason to return back as well. I mean, there's always new shit happening in Warframe. What I love most about Warframe is that it runs so well. It runs buttery smooth. It's just beautiful how well the game runs. It's a joy to play because it just feels buttery smooth and responsive. Obviously, you can't say that for Bless or a lot of other games.
It's still in beta. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course. Warframe is perpetually going to be in beta. That's like the meme that's never going to die.
Yeah, I have the same problem with Warframe as I do with a lot of these kind of instanced stage games where the first like 30 hours is like
brain dead easy. Yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%. And actually, I remember like one of my friends, like if you queue up with a friend, you can skip levels and do whatever level they're on. It does get harder later on, but I feel like a lot of the missions I did that were way higher end, I can still just stomp through even as a lower level. So it is, but the game is designed around grinding and basically unlocking like tons of new shit. You want to get the rare materials, so the farming and the grind is part of the experience. In a way, it's kind of fun working towards objectives, unlocking new warframes and weapons and stuff. That's one of the appeals for the game. So skip ahead in the video if you want to see some actual, Railjack gameplay. And there's enough content to master collections. Yeah. Is Zenix out? Yeah. It is a really good game. I feel like ZenXL usually are a resident cynic, you know, but he says Warframe is a fantastic game. So I'm glad to get that kind of endorsement from ZenXL. He usually kind of is very cynical about most games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the replay value is very much grindy. I just love how well the game runs.
Maybe we should get this on our. I should try this on PlayStation.
Why would you ever play this on console? Play it on PC.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Though I did say last week, Skyforge worked better than I thought on console.
Yeah, Old School RuneScape launched on mobile in beta. Only on Android though, so we can't play it. We have iPhone. The moment that comes out for iOS, I want to play it on there. All right. With that too, Etherville, we should go to the post game as well.
All right, guys. That's it for YouTube. Stick around.
Thanks for watching, YouTube.
Yep. Take it easy.
Take it easy for YouTube, boys.